Okay, let's suggest a motive for murder. I understand the defense will present evidence. Evidence to indicate Jean Grey Earl's motive for murder. Precisely. I'm probably putting myself in hot water by presenting this now because it's not... maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should have used a hand coin.
Take that!
The music is still playing. Tremble in awe at my reasoning. Can you repeat that last bit? I'm afraid I misheard. And I have never used a catch-penny line like that. Well, I trembled a little. All that chilling stares gave me roll on, no matter what cold enemy might say. Just by your side, presenting the evidence was a big mistake to show off an even bigger one. What should trouble is you, Sir Blue Knight. Well, I guess I better revise my theory. Right, I just thought of something. Might be basing our theory on a wrong assumption. Wrong assumption.
Hold it!
Fine. You mean you became a courier because of Sir Belduke? That's right. I was an orphan. I'd been stealing bread and apples and such from stalls and shops to survive. I was known far and wide among the traders in the shopping area. I was famous, or rather infamous. She's stealing from Miss Eclair, too. And one day, Miss Grey Earl took me there, to Sir Belduke's residence, I mean. Sir Belduke helped me. He helped me to find a suitable job. And so you became a courier. Yes, see? I only had one real skill. I'm light-footed. At first, I didn't take it seriously. The job, I mean. I didn't care about work. Then I realized it. That it's not so bad to be useful, to other people. So I owe him a lot too, you see? Sir Belduke, I mean. Heartwarming story. I think the judge just wiped away a tear with the rim of his hood. The more you hear about Sir Belduke, the more obvious it will become that no one had any reason to want to kill him. Sure does seem that way. No one told me about that.
Hold it!
The confidentiality obligation is a rule held among couriers, is that right? Yes, a courier must not disclose the contents of a letter, nor the names, nor addresses, addresses of its sender and recipient. But I'll tell you, confidentially, that I love gossiping, bad-mouthing people, especially. So I wasn't confident I could keep it. The confidentiality obligation, I mean. I was tempted to talk about this and that. To think that Belduke trusted her. But then Sir Belduke spoke to me. He told me this. Think about how you'd feel in that person's place. And that got me thinking. I really, really like to gossip, but when it comes to being gossiped about, people's messages are their secrets, and secrets must be kept. Indeed, no one would want their letters to be publicly known. He's certainly determined when it comes to confidentiality. That's why she doesn't want to disclose the addressee of Belduke's letter. Not going to get it out of her. I promised Sir Belduke, and I'm going to keep it no matter what. The promise, I mean. It's something I can pride myself on, right? End of the road for the testimony. Everyone knows that Miss Grey Earl respected Sir Belduke. That's why it seems so inconceivable that she could be the killer. She doesn't have any motive. But that crime did take place. At this point, what we probably need to do, look at the case from a different angle, change the perspective, so to speak. Need to look at it from another angle, I wonder. I feel we're getting close to the truth here. Now we just need to follow it through. That's an attorney's duty. Sure you can do it, Mr. Wright. Okay.
Hold it!
Yep. I'll use the hint coin here. It's probably going to destroy me. It is going to destroy me. But what do I have that's another motive other than the letter? Yeah, what do I got to lose? I will present evidence. Oh, something like about the murder or something like that? Wait, what? What's this about, Sir Blue Knight? Sir Belduke's life was taken that day, that's a fact. However, was this actually the culprit's true objective?
Objection!
What? This is nonsense. Sir Belduke was murdered. What other possible reason could there be besides someone wanting him dead? Fairly positive this piece of evidence will lead us to the culprit's real motive. Very well, defense, present evidence to indicate Jean Grey Earl's motive for committing the crime.
Take that!
Miss Grey Earl had no reason for wanting to kill Sir Belduke. However, there was another incident that night which is related to this case. And I have an idea what it was. Another incident. I'm referring to this letter. Sir Belduke wrote a letter shortly before his death, yet all we have here is some blank sheets of parchment. Fascinating. Are you saying maybe a witch used some kind of ink-removing magic on that letter, Mr. Wright? No, the spell used by the witch was, of course, Go Door. Let's go over the state of the crime scene one more time. As we know from Miss Mailer's testimony, the letter was in a letterbox next to the victim's head. Yes, it's in the sketch as well. The letterbox is on the far side of the shelf. The point of note is the location of that letterbox. Unbelievable. As Inquisitor Barnham seems to have noticed, the letterbox is within reach of the small portal conjured by the witch behind the painting on the wall. Oh, indeed it is. And as Sir Belduke's butler, you would have known exactly where he keeps his letters. Indeed, Master Belduke would always keep his letters in that letterbox before posting them. You mentioned no such thing. Miss Grey Earl, you created a portal with Go Door, not with the intention of killing Sir Belduke. You were after this letter, weren't you? That's merely wild conjecture. I didn't even know about that letter at the time. You didn't? Now that's very strange. When Miss Mailer came by that night, Sir Belduke was busy writing that letter. And that's when you entered, carrying a bottle of tomato juice. There's no way you wouldn't have known that your master was writing a letter to someone. And you could have known even more than that. For instance, perhaps you knew what he was writing about. That's enough. I served Master Belduke as his butler. I would never have pried into his private affairs. Whatever it was he wrote about in his final letter to the storyteller, it is no concern of mine. Your Honor. Yes, defense? I'd like Miss Grey Earl's last statement to be added to her testimony. Any objections, Inquisitor Barnham? No, my lord, she said to the storyteller. Very well, witness. Include what you just told us in your testimony. As you wish, my lord. And nobody caught that? Come on.
Hold it!
Let me get this straight. You didn't know anything about the victim's letter. That's right. I believe I have said as much already. Then how did you know? How did you know it was addressed to the storyteller? Indeed. Why don't you answer his question, witness? It's true, this letter is addressed to the storyteller. But when did you find out about it? I've spoken about the murder with many people over the past 3 months.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Mailer. Oh. I caught her off guard, but it's her screech that's caught me off guard. Is there perhaps anything you'd like to add to Miss Grey Earl's testimony? No, not really. In that case, let me ask you a different question. Did you tell Miss Grey Earl about Sir Belduke's letter? I don't know. Do not beat around the bush, witness. Answer the question. If I may briefly interrupt. I am testifying right now. If you wish to question Miss Mailer, please do so once you have finished interrogating me. Not going to let me question Mailer from the looks of it, and if she's so keen to prevent her from answering, might be a critical point in the testimony. I've got to find another way of fishing for that information. Witness, continue testifying. Sir Belduke was a wonderful man. He's one who recommended this line of work to me.
Hold it!
Confidentiality. Rule among couriers. And bad-mouthing people. She doesn't want to disclose the address. Not going to get it out of her. Well, may not have known blah blah blah. Want to obtain that letter depending on the contents of the letter that might prove we have her motive. Or what Sir Belduke wrote about. Only one way to find out. To get Grey Earl to admit that she got a hold of that letter. Worried though of lying ahead. Feelings mutual. I have to see it through. I've got to pursue the truth.
Hold it!
All right. Everyone has been very kind to me. They have also told me all sorts of things. Must have heard about it from someone at some point. Well, that incident was certainly much talked about. Do not agree, defense. Their testimony hold together. Hint coin. I have... Where's... Okay, fine. I'll let the game explain it. There's a huge contradiction in Miss Grey Earl's testimony. You're becoming very predictable, Sir Blue Knight. There's a contradiction, and I hope you have the evidence to prove it. Here's my chance. There's only one way to expose this contradiction. I can't... Wait. You told me to say that there's a contradiction, and now you're telling me that I can't present the evidence? Defense has no intention of presenting evidence. What? The proof is that there is a contradiction. There's a contradiction cannot be found in the court record. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Professor pointed it out to me in the previous witch trial. In this court, an attorney's arsenal isn't limited to the court record. Each of the witnesses in this trial has given their own account of what occurred. Therefore, whenever one witness has testified, the other remaining witnesses have listened. Would one witness's testimony differ from another's testimony then? Well, that in itself can be considered a contradiction, can it not? I hate this. Juxtaposing contradictory testimonies from different witnesses is the key. Miss Grayarrow. Her testimony contradicts another one that we have heard in this court today. And no reason to take his life, nor steal the letter. Master took me in a complete stranger. I will forever be indebted. Belduke is a wonderful man. He's the one who recommended line of work. I'm gonna go with this one.
Objection!
The heck? What are you doing? It was a single word that gave you away, Miss Grayarrow. What do you mean by that? The name of the recipient. There were only a few people who knew the intended recipient of that letter. 4 people, to be precise. Only 4 people. First was Sir Belduke, the author of the letter. Then there was Miss Mailer, who delivered it. And of course, the storyteller, its recipient, as well as one more person. One who stole the letter using a portal spell and swapped it with the blank sheets of parchment, the witch. Maybe. Maybe I did. Maybe I spilled the beans about the letter, I mean. Ours? Maybe I told the butler. You did what? Well, because you see, me and the butler are sort of friends. And it was about our dear Sir Belduke. I feel like I might have told her about it after all. See, if I did, that's how she knew. About the recipient, I mean.
Objection!
I understand that you are friends with Miss Grayarrow and you want to help her out. But I've got a piece of advice, Miss Mailer. You shouldn't lie, even for a friend. Huh. Remember your testimony. You told us about the courier's duty to keep the details of letters confidential. And you have also testified that you have never broken that obligation, remember?
Objection!
But hold on just a minute. As the victim's butler, Jean Grayarrow might have had a chance to catch a glimpse of the envelope.
Objection!
No, she didn't. When Miss Mailer came with the delivery, Sir Belduke was still writing that letter. In fact, he was in the middle of it. At that time, the letter had not been addressed yet. And the next morning, when the body was discovered, that letter was already in the letterbox. Keep in mind that Miss Grayarrow would have had no opportunity to see it then either. Is that so? She went to report the crime without even setting foot in the study. And then Miss Mailer appeared and retrieved the letter. Needless to say, Miss Grayarrow couldn't have learned the letter's recipient afterwards. Or maybe you have a good explanation, Miss Grayarrow. I'd very much like to hear one. Can you please tell the court how you found out the recipient's name? Mr. Wright. Yes? You remember what I said when I was called to the witness stand? Yes. At the heart of alchemy lies the pursuit of the rules and logic that govern nature. You have demonstrated the power of your own logic. Miss Grayarrow, are you saying... Yes, I confess. The abhorrent witch who used the spell Godor to swap the contents of that letter, and who took the life of Master Belduke, it was none other than I. Wait, you're admitting based off of the letter? The heck? Okay. I was an only child, born to a poor family. I've been a witch since I was very little. When did I become aware of it? I don't remember. Although I was but a young child, I knew that being a witch was a crime. That's why I hid my witch's scepter and couldn't use magic at all. My father worked as a bricklayer. He toiled every day, but he could hardly make ends meet. One winter day, we couldn't afford to pay rent. We were going to lose the house. See, if I was one of the people on the stand right now, I would have yelled objection and be like, you just admitted you're a witch. I don't care about your backstory. Send her up into the cage. My mother was in tears, and my father was sitting with his head down, wordless.
I want money for Mummy and Daddy.
That day, I suddenly remembered about the witch's scepter that I had hidden. A gold ore spell. I thought I'd try it just once, casting the spell. But at the time, I had no idea what an irreversible mistake that would be. Even though no one told me, I knew from the very beginning what magic I was able to use. What should I turn into gold? I was thinking about. I was thinking about it really hard, the little girl that I was. So she's the one that turned the goat into gold, and somehow Homeboy Slice got a hold of it. Something that wouldn't stand out, that could be taken for a work of art. And I decided I chose a pretty leaf that had fallen into our garden. But it wasn't the right thing to do after all. I was terribly punished for using magic, even just once. Punished? In what way were you punished? I placed the leaf down in the back garden and cast the spell, but then Margaret suddenly walked in front of me. Margaret, my closest childhood friend. Margaret, right before my eyes, she was turned into gold. Oh, dear me. I screamed and cried, but I knew I couldn't ask anyone for help. If anyone had seen it, they would have known it was the work of magic, and I knew Margaret wasn't coming back. That's terrible. Then my mother and father's faces flashed before my eyes. We may have been very poor, but we were always happy together. Had I been captured as a witch, I feared my parents probably wouldn't be safe either. That thought tormented me more than anything, and so I made the decided to end my own life. Threw myself into the river near the town. It was winter and the water was as cold as ice. No need to sacrifice. I couldn't even move. It was painful. My consciousness started drifting away. Next thing I knew, I was in the Master Belduke's residence. He risked his own life jumping into the freezing river to save me. I burst into tears and told him everything. I didn't want to go back home. I would only end up causing my parents grief. Master Belduke listened to me without interrupting. Then he told me this.
You can stay here, but from now on, you must live as a boy.
Master Belduke met with my parents and explained everything to them. They were very sad, but they agreed it would be best if I didn't return home. Or Miss Grayo, that must have been so awful for her. Master bought the house for my parents, so they wouldn't have to worry about paying rent anymore. As for Margaret, turned into gold, he brought her to his residence. He knew that if anyone saw her, they would report an incident of witchcraft. And this Miss Margaret, is she still in that golden state? Wait, is it actually the goat? Yes, she is. That's strange. We have received no reports of anyone by that name having gone missing. Margaret is being kept in the basement under the master's study. Oh, it is the goat. The basement. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this Margaret, is she a... Yes, my dear friend was a goat that we were keeping at our house. A goat. Until then, Master Belduke had mainly been researching medicine, but since the incident with Margaret, he became known as an alchemist. Well, that's when he became an alchemist. He was wondering why the goat was the only thing not I was wondering why the goat was the only thing not covered in dust. That's how I started a new life as Master Belduke's butler. Sir Belduke would sometimes work as a physician curing the townspeople of their illnesses. As his assistant, you have also shown commitment to helping the townspeople through your work. I forgot about being a witch and was able to live happily at peace with everyone. I thought it could stay like that forever. But those peaceful days came to an abrupt end. Tell us, what in the world was the cause? Even I am not quite sure what led to this. However, it all started 3 months ago with that lightning strike. Master Belduke and I were on our way back home carrying specimens for his experiments. An old tower appeared in the flames. Everyone who saw it was stupefied. But the expression on Master Belduke's face was unlike anything I'd seen before. What do you mean? His face went pale and twisted in sheer terror. He was shaking violently. It wasn't just astonishment at an unusual phenomenon. It seemed as if he was afraid of something more concrete. Perhaps Sir Belduke saw something that others couldn't. He canceled his experiments for that night and began writing a letter to someone. A letter. I found out about it when I brought him his bottle of tomato juice. He was writing feverishly, as if he were possessed. I saw some things. A few words in that letter. Expose everything. Cannot keep this secret any longer. The truth about the witch. Master Belduke was going to confess that I was a witch. Everything went black in front of my eyes. I will never forget the feeling that overwhelmed me at that moment. Is that when you decided to commit the crime? What I did first was accidentally singe a part of the wall in my room. It was an excuse to repaint that section of the wall green. Then you also painted the wall behind that painting in Sir Belduke's study. And when that fateful night came, I used a syringe to inject a soporific through the cork and into the bottle of tomato juice. So many thoughts were running through my head as I wished Master a good night. I opened the portal behind him. He was right there in front of me, asleep. I reached for the letter in the letterbox, taking care not to wake him. And then I happened to notice the name on the envelope. Storyteller. When I read that name, the world all around me turned black once more. It's impossible to avoid what is written by the storyteller. It seemed as if I could hear the doors to all escape routes shutting closed. It was the sound of despair. I would like you to believe me that the thought of taking Master Belduke's life never once occurred to me. I only planned to steal that letter and then disappear. But as I looked upon Master sleeping there in front of me, At that moment, I felt an evil presence awaken within me. Why did he save my life? And why did he betray me? Before I realized what I was doing, my hands were clutching his neck. He didn't move at all, so I kept on clenching his neck. That's it. That's the truth about what happened 3 months ago. Alright, but what about homie Sir Layton? Oh yeah, we couldn't have thrown her into the fire when I was going to interrupt her story because, you know, gotta learn about Sir Layton. There's just one thing I fail to understand. Yes? You said you wanted to run away once you had stolen the letter. Yet despite that, you continued to live in Sir Belduke's residence, and now, here you stand. Why did you not run away? My life had been thrown into disarray due to the absurdity of magic. I had learned all about alchemy living at Master's residence. Alchemy is concerned with the logic that governs the world. I wanted to believe that there truly was such a thing. So I stayed in that place, hoping to one day see the irrational nature of magic overcome by the power of reason. Magic being overcome by reason. That night, I swapped the letter with blank sheets of parchment and waited for the sun to rise. I resolved to wait for the day when my true identity could be exposed through reason and logic. Master's death remained a mystery for 3 months, and people started to lose interest. And then you appeared, Mr. Wright. On the day you visited the residence, I was listening to your conversation from the other room. As the time finally come for me, my heart was racing with anticipation. Then, a few minutes after everyone entered that room, an unbelievable incident took place. That incident. A witch appeared in the Master's study. What? I wanted to get a look at the witch, so I created a portal in the wall behind the painting. Precisely at that moment, Goldor. The witch used one of the very spells that I can use too. When I heard those words, a single thought flashed through my mind. This was my chance. I could dispose of my witch's scepter. I knew at the time what kind of a witch the Inquisition would be looking for. A witch that can use Famalia and Goldor. It occurred to me that I only needed to change one of the magic gems. I had previously found out that the Famalia gem was purple. I realized that if I swapped the Goldor magic gem for my amethyst, I could pin the blame for my crime on that other witch. So you changed one of the gems and threw the witch's scepter into that room, is that correct? Exactly.
Objection!
Wait a minute, Jean Grey Earl. This statement of yours is highly problematic. How so, Inquisitor Barnham? Yes, you are right. Can someone explain to me what this is about? I'm a witch indeed, a sinful creature that killed the person whom she owed her life. However, regarding the gentleman standing next to you, Mr. Wright, he may have fallen victim to a witch, but that witch was not me. Oh. Wait, what? Order in the court. What is the meaning of this? Jean Grey Earl admits killing Sir Belduke, but not to turning Sir Layton into gold. That is the gist of it, my lord. But lying about it is meaningless. Lying. Just being a witch is a crime in itself. And the punishment for that crime is the same regardless of whether she took one person's life or two. That's why there's no point in lying about it. I'm sure that's what the judge is thinking. Grey Earl is still claiming she never laid a finger on the professor. But if there's no point in lying, does that mean she must be telling us the truth? Well, in that case, who's responsible for what happened to the professor? And if it wasn't her, then who was it? Mind if I say something? Take a hint, witness. Does it feel like this is the right moment for you to talk? Yeah, well, that's kind of why I was staying quiet until now. But I either say it now or never. Don't simply fall silent after saying that. It only makes it weigh on my mind more. Whatever do you want to say? Oi, Bluey. Yes? I need to make sure about something. Me head's not what it used to be, you know. Yes. The alchemist's butler, Lady Butler, she slipped sleep medicine into his drink. That's correct. She laced his tomato juice with it. And then she strangled the alchemist afterwards. Yes, Sir Belduke was unconscious from the sleep medicine, so he didn't resist. And that explains why we found no signs of a struggle at the crime scene. But what about the letter? Yeah, about that. I let it slip earlier about what I did at the crime scene, right? I told you that I had a few sips of that juice. And the sleep medicine mixed in made you sleep like a log. Yes, we remember. Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is just between us, okay? You see, when I appropriated that juice, the juice bottle was, well, still unopened. It was unopened. My throat was parched, and I wasn't thinking straight. That brand new bottle was just there, waiting for me, with a corkscrew conveniently laid next to it. I couldn't just let that go to waste. I swiftly pulled out the cork and got to drinking. What? So, in case you don't get what I'm getting at, the alchemist didn't have a single drop of the juice with the sleep medicine. Huh? What? The plot thickens. Witness, you went to the trouble of opening a bottle found at the crime scene just to drink its suspicious contents? That's what I've been telling you. I was dying of thirst. That doesn't justify what you've done.
Objection!
The Inquisitions shall deal with this witness after the trial. You will find out what it means to be dying of thirst in a more literal meaning. However, let us not waste any more time with him now. The witch has confessed to her crimes. There is no need to investigate Sir Belduke's death any further. Indeed, you are right, Inquisitor. Her role in the Sir Layton incident is not entirely clear, but a person who kills her protector, to whom she owes her very life, can be nothing other than a witch. The court has sufficient grounds to sentence her as such. Belduke didn't drink the juice that night. And if that's true, there's one thing here that doesn't add up. Mr. Wright, I have to say, there's something about this that's bothering me. I'm sure there's a contradiction lurking in that man's testimony. Think so, Luke. Can I really turn a blind eye to that? Alright, let's investigate. Why does this knight half dab when he objects? He was already dead. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. But now we have to wonder, like, did he kill himself? What's going on? Mister, you're saying you opened the tomato juice bottle, but that claim contradicts a certain piece of evidence. What? Defense, I'd like a word with you. Yes, Your Honor. At this point, your client's innocence has already been established. Therefore, whether there is a contradiction in that man's testimony or not should no longer be of any concern. It may be so, Your Honor, but even though I'm here to defend the accused, the true duty of any attorney is to uncover the truth behind what happened. My job's not done until there are no more contradictions left. Very well. Sir Blue Knight, let us hear about this contradiction you have discovered. The bottle was first opened by that guy, meaning Belduke didn't drink any of it. That means there's one piece of evidence that should be very difficult to explain. I would like to hear about this contradiction too. The defense shall present evidence. Where is this contradiction? I believe it is here. I hope I'm right.
Take that!
The contradiction can be seen in one of the sketches of the crime scene. One of the sketches. Please take a look at Sir Belduke's mouth. We can see a line of red liquid trickling down from his mouth. Yes, well, we have already established that was the tomato juice. Oh. Exactly, Your Honor. Sir Belduke didn't drink any of the tomato juice that night.
Objection!
Which means there's only one other possibility. That red line, as we thought first of all, blood. Sir Belduke must have tried to fight back the assailant and bit his tongue in doing so.
Objection!
Fortunately, that would only bring us back to the problem we encountered earlier. If the victim had put up a fight, then there should have been traces of a struggle at the crime scene, and yet no such traces were found. That's what made you assume the witch must have used Famalia. Aha! Yes, that is so. As I explained before, Master Belduke didn't struggle at all at the time. But when I think about it now, in light of the new information, it was very unnatural. Victim didn't drink the soporific, yet didn't struggle. But what does this mean? It's not tomato juice nor blood brought about through a struggle with the murderer. And what else could it be? Watch him walk through the door right now and be like, "It was a ruse this entire time." Since it's not tomato juice, we have to assume it's blood after all. Yeah, right? It's gotta be that. We have ruled out the possibility that the victim bit his tongue while struggling with the attacker. Indeed. And there's got to be a different reason for that blood being there. He must have suffered internal bleeding that was somehow connected to his death, but what could have caused it? Your Honor, if I may ask one question. A question to whom? I just clarify this one suspicion I may be able to explain the blood shown in the sketch. I need to question one person in particular. Layton did it? That is a guess, to be sure. I don't think it's a mirror. And I bet you if I use this hint coin, it's going to get rid of a mirror. No, it gets rid of Gray Earl. So if Amir was my choice of not getting the question, then it has to be Barnham. But what could we possibly want to ask Barnham? I'm not feeling confident about this. Well, I'd like to ask Inquisitor Barnham. What, me? You have any idea who I should question? Oh my gosh. Why are you asking me? You need to get mad. About the incident, then it would make sense to ask one of the witnesses, do you not think? Yeah, I've yelled at you, but at least he answered your question, Mr. Wright. Yeah, Mr. Wright. You know, maybe there's a human heart beating under all that armor after all. A witness, huh? One more question. I mean, it could have been Homeboy Slice. You know, like all of his people took, you know, all the evidence and stuff. I still want to know what was in the letter. I don't know why we haven't gone down that road. Mister, can I ask you something? Yeah? Don't give me that scary look, Bluey. I know nothing. Nothing at all. I've got nothing to tell. Vermeer's as innocent as a little lamb, but his confidence more than a sham? He'd be better off without that bard. You drank the tomato juice that was at the crime scene, right? Don't keep asking me about that over and over again. So what if I did? And I have another question for you. Did anything else disappear from the crime scene that day? No, I didn't notice anything.
Objection!
Witness, just what have you done this time? You look like a dog caught making a mess on the carpet. Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know anything about anything going missing. I'm innocent, please believe me. Truth could drown in his swimming eyes. Some tell lies well, others cannot tell lies. Looks like my gut feeling was right. He took something from the crime scene. Something that could be directly connected to that red liquid around Belduke's mouth. What on earth did that man steal from the crime scene? A certain item disappeared from the crime scene that day. And at this very moment, it's highly likely that item is right in front of our very eyes. Probably that poison bottle that he's drinking. What? It's here. Isn't that right, mister? Is it? I have no idea. Bender, I order you to show us what this item is.
Got it!
Just root beer? You know what? If it's diet root beer, then I can understand why they put the skull on it. This bottle. Miss Greer, I'd like you to clarify something for me. That would be... what would that be, Mr. Wright? Sir Belduke was working on creating certain medicines. He had various dangerous substances in his possession as well. How are they stored? Master kept them in a locked medicine cabinet. The bottles were labeled so that it was clear that they were dangerous. They have all been confiscated. As for those labels, did they resemble the label on that guy's bottle? Mister, what are you doing with a product of Master's research? It's not what you think. I didn't have any evil intentions or nothing. That bottle belonged to Master, and it was used to store strong poison. Poison strong enough to kill. Poison? What? The red liquid trickling down Sir Belduke's mouth was definitely blood. Now, as for what caused him to bleed like that from his mouth, was the deadly poison from the bottle this guy stole from the crime scene. This is outrageous. What? Not because of something about the crime scene? You hope the guy turns into a frog or something by the end of the trial? I'm pretty sure there's going to be another case after this. And now I'm just thinking, like, how is he going to show up on that case? Order! Whoa, 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 whoa. You expect me to just keep quiet? It was poison? Poison? Am I going to die?
Objection!
Just wait and see. Time will tell. Yeah, I guess. More importantly, I want to know why you have that bottle. Huh? Well, that's, remember how I told you I drank the alchemist's tomato juice? Indeed, it's not something easy to forget, especially having heard it several times. Well, that was when I saw it on the floor, this other bottle right here. It was totally empty, and I thought, you know, it's such a fancy looking bottle and all. I'm a bit of a skull fancier. They have this air of danger about them, right? They certainly do. So since it was there, and I was there too, I felt we were kind of meant for each other. I thought this bottle so classy I could die for it. Had any poison been left in the bottle, you would have died instantly. But if it was empty, it was probably harmless. Oh, hear that? I'm gonna live. Good thing I rinsed it well before use. But if the victim was killed by poison, that raises a new question, of course. Who could have poisoned him? Considering all the evidence and the testimonies we've heard today, the answer is so close I can taste it. Sir Belduc was poisoned by... It was, of course, Sir Belduc himself. Sir Belduc himself? Sir Belduc took that poison of his own will. His death was suicide.
Objection!
That is preposterous. A suicide? Inconceivable.
Objection!
Think about it, Inquisitor. That would explain the most unnatural aspect of his death. Most unnatural aspect? Miss Grail, when you were strangling Sir Belduc, he put up no fight whatsoever, is that correct? Yes, it is. Until today, I was convinced it was due to the sleep medicine. It wasn't because he didn't take any. The truth is, when you gripped his throat, Sir Belduc was already dead. He had poisoned himself. But would the poison have caused him to bleed from his mouth? I personally know of no poison that works instantly and causes such symptoms. Oh, you don't? I can't just tell them that it happens on TV all the time. There are certain plants in this area that contain highly poisonous substance. In the course of his research, Master Belduc found a way to extract that poison. What am I hearing? Is there really such a dangerous plant in Labyrinthia? Poison is very bitter to taste, so it would be impossible to secretly slip it into someone's food or drink. And it would cause internal damage. It is a very powerful poison. Drinking it would induce a most painful death. And to think Sir Belduc could... But did Sir Belduc really choose such an agonizing death for himself? It doesn't seem like he suffered that much. I would like to know that too. Miss Greyarrow, you mean to say Master killed himself after exposing me as a witch? I cannot believe it. He just wouldn't commit suicide. Indeed, we cannot take such a theory at face value. Had he committed suicide, I dare say he would have left a suicide note. I can't say why Sir Belduc committed suicide, but I think there is a piece of evidence that can confirm his suicide was a possibility. Is a piece of evidence like that? If you have such evidence, you ought to present it to the court immediately.
Take that!
That's Sir Belduc's letter. Let's see, it was addressed to the storyteller, wasn't it? This is the last letter written by Sir Belduc. Now, if his death was a suicide, then this letter may well be his suicide note.
Objection!
What we have here is nothing more than blank sheets of parchment. Whether or not there was a suicide note is something we can only speculate about. That's right. But there is one person who knows whether this letter was really a suicide note. You mean the person who swapped its contents? In other words, you, Jean Greyarrow. Witness, you stole Sir Belduc's letter on the night of the crime. Tell us what was written in it. I don't know. What? You don't know? I did steal the letter, yes, but I don't know what its contents were. You mean you have not read it? I couldn't bring myself to read it. It seemed that if I did, everything that had happened since Master Belduke saved my life would be ruined in an instant. I've taken it out and held it in my hands many times, but no matter what, I just couldn't. Miss Grey Earl, can you tell us where that letter is now? Oh, it's right here. Oh. You're carrying it around with you. If you were searched, you would have been done for. That night, having killed Master Belduke, I decided to stay in his residence. I knew my identity would be revealed sooner or later, and I was ready for it. So, until that time, I decided to always keep the letter with me. My lord, yes, witness? If you don't mind, could you please read it aloud? Now that I'm here in this place of judgment, I think I'm finally ready to hear what Master wrote.
Hold it! Miss Grey Earl, I think you should be the one to read it.
Me?
Sir Belduke wrote this letter to the storyteller as he was preparing to die. I think it's only right his last words should be read by you.
Yeah. So that you can go through all the pain and agony.
Yes, you're right. I see. I understand. Please allow me to read the letter aloud.
Redemption incoming? Nah, she's a witch.
My dear friend, I hope you will be able to forgive me for leaving this world of my own will. I have finally made this decision, having seen that accursed bell tower
appear in the flames on that dreadful night. That lightning was a sign that we have angered the gods. What I have done cannot be forgiven. I can never escape from it. For the past few days, I have been thinking that it might be best to simply expose everything. This town's secret, the truth about the witch. Of course, I understand that secrets need to be kept. However, I have grown very tired. I'm afraid I cannot keep the secret any longer. I have only two concerns. The first is my daughter. It pains me to be leaving her alone in this world, although she probably doesn't think of me as her father.
A daughter?
I was not aware that Sir Belduke had a daughter.
Mr. Belduke seemed to know a lot about this town. This town's secret, and the truth about the witch.
Truth about the witch? Somehow I don't think he was talking about Miss Grey Earl.
Oh. The second matter, weighing heavily on my mind, is that Jean will be left on her own.
Seeing her growing up, so strong and righteous, in defiance of her fate, had given me hope. A short while ago, she brought me my usual, and what will be my last, drink. There are so many things I wanted to tell her, but I could only manage a thank you. She is a very sharp child. Had I said any more, she would have caught on. You could call me a selfish man, but I didn't wish my last memory of her to be a sad one.
Master Belduke. If the fate handed to her by this town has made her life an ordeal until now, I hope from the bottom of my heart that a wonderful story awaits her next. I intend to leave my residence to her, and I would like you to look out for her.
Alas, it is time for me to put my pen down, my dear friend. What I truly wish to express to you is too complicated for words. I hope one day you will understand, but for now I bid you farewell. The time has come for me to go.
This letter, it wasn't a denunciation of me being a witch.
Master Belduke cared about you until the very end.
And you tried to kill him.
Yes, how could I have forgotten? I'm sure I knew it all along. So why did I? How could I have done that to him?
Miss Grey Earl. Lord, what is it, Inquisitor Barnham? I think it is about time for the guilty verdict. Guilty? The Inquisition withdraws the charges against Maya Fey and charges Jean Grey Earl with being a witch. All the evidence corroborates this accusation, and she even admits her guilt. Hence, the Inquisition asks that the witch be found guilty and punished immediately.
Objection!
Not so fast, Inquisitor Barnham. What do you want now, Sir Blue Knight? Admittedly, Miss Grey Earl did attempt to strangle Sir Belduke, but he had consumed a deadly poison and was already dead at the time. Therefore, she is not guilty of murder. But she's still guilty of being a witch. And one more thing. It also wasn't Miss Grey Earl who turned Professor Layton into gold. There was another witch present at the crime scene. The defendant Maya saw her too. Put it simply, Miss Grey Earl didn't kill anyone. Yeah, she didn't kill anyone, and yet you still want to burn her? Maya, do you even know how it feels to be put in this cage? It's like everyone's against you, and it's super frightening. I'm not a witch, but I've been thrown into this cage and almost sentenced for something I didn't do. And now you're about to do the same to another person. That's just not right. Is that all you have to say? Well, the one who's in the wrong is not me, but you, Sir Blue Knight. Whether the witch committed a crime or not is completely irrelevant. This is the witch's court. All witches must be punished by fire. But that's crazy. Why, Barnham? Inquisitor Barnham is absolutely right. Being a witch is a crime. You understand that, don't you, Miss Grey Earl? Yes. Very well, then. The court is ready to issue the final verdict. Maya Fey is found innocent, and in her place, Jean Grey Earl is found guilty of being a witch and shall be cast into the fire.
No! You can't! Hold it! Please, hold the verdict!
Espella?
What is it now, Espella Cantabella?
There is nothing else we can do. This is the course of things, and you should know it well.
Indeed, all witches shall be cast into the flames. That is the law of this town. A law that was written by your very own father. And furthermore, a law that has always been obeyed in the town of Labyrinthia.
A town like this should never exist in the first place.
What? Such insolence!
That's heresy! She's criticizing the storyteller's story! Even the storyteller's daughter has no right to criticize the story!
Trials in which innocent people are sentenced to death by fire. We shall make sure this is the last one.
What do you mean, Espella?
Since you're all so keen on the rules created by the storyteller, you should know exactly what I mean. The stipulation for ending the witch trials. Once the Great Witch Bazella is burned, the witch trials will end. At present, I am under suspicion. You know very well why that is, don't you?
You? Well, you don't mean that you're,
I am guilty. I am the Great Witch Bazella.
What?
Now, cast me into the flames and let Miss Grayle free. This shall be the last of the witch trials. No one else need be burned hereafter.
Espella, just what are you saying? I can't let you do that.
Please, Mr. Wright, let me do as I wish. I'm sorry, but this is a problem concerning the people of Labyrinthia.
No! Please don't do it!
There must be another way! You don't need to do this! It's all right, Luke, Maya, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Layton. I truly appreciate all you have done for me.
This can't be happening.
Miss Cantabella, your confession will have very serious, or rather, fatal consequences for you. May we assume that you fully understand those consequences and are willing to accept them?
Make sure you give her a couple dragon eggs before you throw her into the fire.
I am Espella Cantabella, the storyteller's daughter. But I also have another name. I am the Great Witch Bezella. I have lived hidden in the dark pages of my father's story, deceiving all of you. Many lives have been sacrificed because of me. But that shall end today.
Court attendants, seize that woman! She is the Great Witch Bezella.
Plot twist. Hey, Mr. JRPG. We haven't baked anyone yet, but we are about to.
Espella.
You still didn't figure out who did this to Layton, though? Yeah, they doesn't seem like they care. It doesn't seem like Layton's gonna get turned back, either.
Maya!
Espella, this just isn't right! Let's go! Nick, give me a hand! Jump! Jump over there!
But...
Hurry!
They're getting away! Maya!
Help me, Nick!
Why would you go
Estella!
inside the cage,
Quick,
you
in here!
insane person?
Stop! You've got to stop! Maya!
Dang. 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 You know how, when you're playing an RPG and, you spend, 20, 30, 40, however many hours, you build up this amazing team of party members, and you're ready to fight the big bad. You step in there, you work your way up the tower, you fight the big bad. You find out it's a story battle, and you die, and you have to start all over again from the very beginning. And it was the game's plan all along. And everything you did up until this point was completely worthless. This is kind of what this moment feels like. It's a crazy moment for sure, but we went into this trial to prove the innocence of Maya Fey so that she wouldn't be burned alive. And the end result is she's burned alive. It's certainly very tense and certainly very unexpected. But I kind of question the narrative progression here, to say the least. And in future Ace Attorney games, everyone wondered where Maya went. Yeah, seems like it, huh? Well, everyone. That is going to be the stream for today. Today is Taco Tuesday. I gotta go get my tacos today. And it seems like the case is over, but you know, it's hard to figure out. Like, you know, can I go for another hour? Can I go for another hour and a half? You know, it's tough with this game because I could just get into another 2.5 hour stream. And like I said, I'm getting my tacos today. Ain't nobody stopping me. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we can get in a nice 4-hour, 5-hour stream. Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, to continue with some more Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. And I'm out. Peace.